was pitching a sitcom.
You were very specific.
Yeah, like
at
that's
that
all
time,
I'm saying. Yeah.
guys had a theme to their shows.
And that was like where their managers or agents or just they would be like, this is my Ray Romano or this is going to be my,
How fascinated are you by guys to get like 4 applause breaks before they tell any jokes? Like, yeah, give yourselves a round of applause for coming out tonight.
Yeah, I love
we got a lot of beautiful ladies here tonight. Let's give a round of applause for the ladies.
That
and
would
you're just sitting there going, wow, this guy's really good, but he hasn't said anything yet. He's got 2 applause breaks.
I never understood that until I was on the road where I was like, this guy is like wasted and he's just trying to acclimate himself to like, get the audience, going.
Yeah.
Like basically like, start the car. I'll be out in a minute.
Any military people here?
Yeah.
Y'all, give him a round of applause, y'all. Give him a round of applause. We're you, Army? Navy? Shoot, Navy, huh? Well, that's good too. Let's give a round of applause for the Navy. 5 applause breaks so far.
And people always leave that guy show going like, man, that guy was fun. I mean, what a good time. I wish we could see him every week,
Yeah.
Then you're up there telling like a fucking wizard fucking a unicorn joke. And they're like, what the fuck is that?
There's a few themes in your act that never leave, thank God. And that is wizards. Midgets.
Yes.
Wizards. Nothing will make Dave Attell laugh more than if you just approach him and say, Merlin.
Merlin. That's definitely a name you just can't throw around. Who's going to be there? I don't know. Eddie, Jimmy, and Merlin. I hope Merlin brings the party favors.
I wish you were a little more like Dan Haggerty. I know you love Dan Haggerty, Merlin. Sea Captain.
Oh, anything with nautical is always fun.
Sea Captain gets it till fucking great. Yeah, Sea Captain.
That's why I love sea shows, but they're never as fun as in my mind of what they would be. Like
Deadliest Catch.
But they never do any of the
Nothing
sea
happens.
I know, but they're all like,
they just keep pulling up the pots.
We don't see them back at
fight,
shore buying meth.
Yeah, throw somebody overboard. This is like season 6 already. No luck down the nor'easter. The best part of the show is Mike Rowe's voiceover. Like, that guy needs more fucking money.
I know, right?
Jesus. Who knew you could make that much money picking up catfish with your thumb and forefinger?
When I did the Insomniac show, we used to do the late night jobs. I was always like, this would be a great show of its own, just of late night jobs. And then he came along and did the dirty jobs, which I'm not saying, whatever. I think it's cool that he does that. But those dirty jobs and late night jobs were the coolest part of the show of the Insomniac thing because it was 2 guys in a sewage treatment plant. And think about their lives until you get there. It's the same thing every day of them waiting to get off to drink that 9 a.m. fucking 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to play the lotto. You're a sucker. Whatever, that same thing.
Merlin.
And then we're all sitting there with them, so it was so cool to give these guys their due, that they were doing something. I always made them thank God you're doing this, guys.
You've always been a champion of the common man. I don't know if that's your upbringing.
Well, yeah, I wish I was.
But not a champion of hey, someone's got to do it. But I think also being comics, you and I have this sort of romanticism of the guy that
real jobs.
A guy that punches a clock. Like you see guys in a factory or guys that work in a mill. Or I remember you were in Miami on a boat.
Yeah.
It was some harbor patrol guy. And you look like you were the fucking Make-A-Wish kid, just out of harbor patrolling the marina.
I couldn't believe we got that. That was before 9/11.
A fish jumped in the fucking boat on that episode, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right, yeah.
A fish jumped out of the Atlantic Ocean into the boat, into your lap. And his name was Merlin.
We never got great access. You'd see all these cool shows now where it's we are in the fucking, NORAD, right now. This button can start World War III. We never got anything like that. We'd be here we are at the parking lot where if you look over there, an hour away, there's something interesting. So we'd have to make it.
But you would wind up with the security guard at the parking lot.
Yeah, that's what the show would be about.
That was you making lemonade out of those lemons.
Yeah.
And that guy became fascinating. And there is this odd romanticism for comics of just somebody that does an everyday job. And you champion the everyman.
I until I realize now that everybody wants to be famous. And that's what really sucks about our world now is that everybody wants to be famous because you love the guy who's I'm just, doing it like first responder type dudes. Like those guys are
people
still
that cleaned up murder scenes was one of the best episodes
that
ever.
guy was working on his own show at that point too, selling his own show. But yeah, I was
let me explain the listeners. Let me explain this to the readers.
I find show business incredibly boring, and I was never good at show business. But I find reality really interesting. Growing up, a fat Jewish kid on Long Island, that I always found like manly shit. Like really jobs, like guys who would come back like, "How'd you lose that thumb?" Well, let me tell you, a wood chipper. You got to respect it. Like all those kind of stories.
Some folks call it a Kaiser blade.
Yeah, I loved all those things growing up. Like what happened to your head? It's like, well, a nail gun and a bottle of Jim Beam should never be. Like all those weird, accident.
Did you ever have like real man jobs on your way up?
Yeah, but they were like the wussiest of the real man. Like picking weeds in a parking lot because you'd be like, you're like, oh my God, I might touch a broken needle. I was never skilled enough at any of those kind of jobs but I wish I like my ultimate job would be like a locksmith. I think that's the coolest job. Cause it's like,
everyone needs one.
Cause like you ever see those guys like they always show up at like 4 a.m. It's like some like weird They're
always Israeli. And tow truck drivers are always Israeli too. Exactly. Get in, sit up front with me.
Yeah, and it's like like some weird situation, like where he just comes in, like, like just quickly does your car or like your apartment. You're fucking wasted. Your keys are like in the other room, and your roommate is fucked up. So like I always thought like those kind of cool late night jobs because I had many morning jobs growing up.
Brutal.
Like I worked for Discovery Channel. I used to be a temp. I was a waiter. All those different fucking things. I used to work in my like shipping, receiving, and all that kind of stuff.
Would you like to hear about our house dressing?
I was a horrible waiter.
It's honey mustard peppercorn.
I was a great, drinker at a bar, but not a very good fucking bartender. Like, I never knew any, like, you're not really a drinker guy, but, like, you drank.
Was.
Yeah, but you drank, like, a little bit,
No, I was an alcoholic. I had to quit.
Oh, okay. Well, I was trying to get you. You're never going to be governor this way.
You have more references of manly everyday jobs.
I love that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so it's almost like as a kid, some kids like study the stars because they dream about being an astronaut. You like I-beam. Like I wouldn't know. Earlier you said Garcia or Sanchez get off that I-beam. I never would like I-beam. I know what it is because
you know what it is, yeah.
Because you said it, and I had to picture this scenario. But if you said I-beam, I would have thought. I never would have thought to say that.
My obsession now is truckers. Like I think
ice road truckers.
Not even ice roading, just like regular truckers. Like whenever I see them when I'm on the road. When I was younger, I used to fear them.
Give them a honk. Flick the high beams, let them know it's okay to get on over.
Yeah, you ever go to the truck stop and you see like Larry the Cable Guy DVD, like that's definitely his thing. He pulls that out and listens to it as he's fucking driving fucking meth and illegals across state lines.
I thought about this. You would be an exceptional truck driver, I think.
I'm a horrible driver, though.
Yeah, but you enjoy, but your love of the solitude.
I do like that.
Would overcome your horrible driving.
I love a fucking late night lonely job. Oh, I love that shit.
Really?
Yeah. Like if there was like if they would let people like I was just in D.C. You've been great comedy town, right?
Chocolate City.
Exactly. Which is not to be racist, but racial. Okay.
Whoa.
Ready?
You know what? We almost got to the podcast. We've been so brutal.
Oh, okay. What?
No,
don't
break
do
it
this?
down. No, do it.
Okay. In D.C., there's a lot of security guards guarding stuff that they could give a shit about. And a lot of them are people from D.C., okay? So you'll be like, oh, cool, I just want to get a picture of me near this very ancient. They go, get away from there. Like, you're not allowed on there.
Shroud of Turin.
Yeah, it's like, oh, if only I could get a picture with, me, like with the... like if the Washington Monument, it looks like it's my dick. If I just lay down, get over that law. You get this like angry fucking Good Burger voice coming at you. Get out of there.
Get off my lawn, guy.
You're not allowed to do that.
Have you been surprised on the road? Like when you talk about comedy, you really only talk about like L.A., New York, and Boston.
No, I used to love the middle of the country, but now I hate it.
No, I mean about comics themselves. Boston definitely had huge comedy boom in Boston. The Lenny Clarks, the Steve Sweeneys, and the Anthony Clarks, and the Jimmy Clark, and the Bobby Clarks. the Clark Bars. The Clark Brothers.
Town, unedited.
Yes.
Did you see that movie? That would be a good movie for you.
What?
Town.
I loved it.
The Town?
Yeah.
Hey, sweetheart. That
I don't know
cockney
why.
Boston bullshit.
I'm a little surprised. I always would love to play like a Southie guy because I can fucking nail that accent, Dave Attell. No, sir.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Ah, fuck yeah. He's fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Paul Pierce is a fucking power forward in a fucking small forward's body.
Who was the guy who played the flower shop guy in that, like with the weird face?
Yes, Merlin.
You remember that guy? He's been in like 5 like English movies and this movie. But yeah, that was a good flick. I like that.
I found when I was in Denver, I was very surprised that Denver had like actual like great comics.
Yeah, it's a great comedy town.
Are there any towns out there? And then I became aware of like Brandon Walsh and like a couple guys that Dustin Ibarra, like they're like Austin guys or like Dallas guys.
Right.
What is it? Why do you think some towns? There's no right or wrong answer. I don't want to be like fucking James Lipton. But why do you think it is weird? Like some towns, they just breed. I mean, there's really good comics that are in Denver and they drive to like Kansas to do one-nighters and drive back.
Yeah, it's really about stage time. But Denver is a rarity because the Comedy Works is like a legendary club, and Wendy, who runs it,
she's great.
Always was supportive of the comics. So
she really is all about
she's
the comics.
Always really helped comedy and
we love you,
loves
Wendy.
Comedy and just like. Great place. I did my Skanks for the Memories there. It's still like people always bring it up to me like that was a great CD and the crowds there really cool. And that's another point, which is like, there used to be such a thing as where the crowd would come out and they were up for anything. And like there was towns that like they played like Wichita, Kansas, and it was like just like bikers and like fucking guys who were on a SWAT team who got off duty and they wanted to hear the most vicious, dirty, fucking inappropriate, wipe your ass with a baby and fucking, light a polar bear on fire, kind of fucking like, that'll never happen, but it's hilarious that you're saying it. And now everybody takes everything you say as like, is that going to happen to us? It's like, it's so fucking, I don't know where these people are coming from, but.
Do you think it's related to the internet age?
Yeah, they
and
suck.
The fact that they feel like, they feel like they're much closer to us. There's this.
They're great judges. They're great, like, clicks
snark
here.
And then there's this faux connection you have with these people that by the time they come see you, they feel like they've had a conversation with you over 2 years of just going like, I don't get it, Dave, explain on Twitter.
I don't even like the Twitter thing is a whole different world, but I'll tell you, Jay, it's like the more that these people self-correct themselves and like the world that we live in, the more comedy is going to get really bland and tame and just like really just a guy going up there and just talking about his fucking day and not funny, and it's like I never thought that would happen in comedy. Like the fact that Gilbert lost his job over some horrible old jokes that were tweeted at the wrong time. I mean, like, yeah, okay, dock him and pay or whatever you're going to do, but it's like.
But let him be the duck. Let him be the duck.
He's so on the scale of importance.
Don't take away the duck.
Yeah.
Now they got a new duck that like they got to make it breakdance.
I know. Yeah.
He's like scratching. He's got like geez Louise. He's doing backflip. He's like you can't just say Affleck. We got to take it up a notch.
But they should never like. It's like comics. Like we're so unimportant on the scale of important. Birthday clowns are more important than fucking comics and what we say and do. But what I want to say, Comedy Towns, Houston, the Laugh Stop used to be, that was like one of the first places where we got to headline, and it was a great fucking, that's where Hicks and Sam Kinison, the whole Texas Outlaw crew. So you went in there with this big legendary, like, like this is like where comedy, like great comedy is from. And just like Babbitt, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he totally was, to me, Stanhope, a lot of these guys, Hedberg, gave us our first bones on like headlining. Same thing with Punchline in San Francisco. Jeff Wills. Like he like totally hooked us up. The gig I always talk about is one where Hedberg was opening for me in Punchline, and I could barely headline. Like I had like 48 minutes, and like Hedberg was opening, and it's like he was so different. Think about how everyone's kind of like him now, but back then he was really different. And like in San Francisco, where everyone was really different back then, it wasn't also PC.
Yeah.
It was like he fucking every night basically blew me off that stage. And I was like, I said like after the first one, I'm like, this guy should be closing the shows. Like, I mean, we should like. It wasn't one of those like I want him out of here.
Right.
No, I was like, dude, this guy's really great. He should be headlining. And like, we worked together a lot of times, and Mitch like was just like. Fucking like being there kind of dude, you know what I'm saying? A lot of it was drug induced, but a lot of it was just like his style, man, of just like wow, I can't believe this is happening. You know, there's two strippers licking his face. You know, and it's like, wow, it's going to be a sunny day tomorrow. You know, like what?
He had a good outlook.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I really can't. I really could say
I've never
that.
heard
I've worked with him so many times.
I've never heard any Hedberg stories ever.
Ever?
No.
Did you ever work with him?
No.
Oh man,
I love him. I love
before
his
the
stuff.
drugs really took over. He was fucking. Man, I can't say that he ever let me that close to him, but the fact that I think he respected me and what I did, because I really thought I was such a hack around him, like my comedy is so